Hello my friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family. So we have a lot to go over today, and it's definitely a worldwide thing that we got going today. Well, let's start out here in Iowa. And so we have a very big, actually there was a series of tornadoes that hit Iowa yesterday, and let's take a look at this one. Pretty awesome footage. You can see that top getting blown right off of this steeple-like protuberance on that building. Oof, look at that. Pretty intense storms for sure. Tremendous damage. And as we see over here, when we go over to the watchers, the destructive tornadoes ripped through Marshallton and Pella and Bondurant, leaving 17 people injured in Iowa. And you could just take a look and see how destructive it was going down through that street. Really, really intense, powerful storms. And they broke out with little warning, and that's what we've also been seeing, a lot of storms that just boom, they come in out of nowhere. I'll let you guys play these videos. The damage is just incredible, and it's actually damaged some big stone buildings, been there for 200 years. Just, you know, amazing, horrible damage that we're seeing from these super intense storms everywhere, all over the world right now. And this is ramping up. It's going to kind of get worse for sure before it gets better. And so we have another tragedy in Missouri. We have a duck boat that ended up killing 17 people as it capsized during a severe storm. And there's a video for you guys to take a look on this too. It's kind of heart-wrenching, so I'll let you guys view it on your own there. And this one, unfortunately, it killed 9 people from the same family. Just a devastating loss, and let's send our prayers out to them in their horrible time of grieving. Now we have an earthquake swarm we've been talking about, and this is just south of London. And according to Dutch, since it's related to fracking, which I wouldn't doubt. You know, there's fracking all over the place. And so now it's actually gotten to the point where they've had a lot of events there. They've had 10 seismic events that have been detected in the Newdigate, Surrey area of the UK between Dorking and Gatwick airports near London since April 1st. So highly, highly unusual. I mean, they're not big, they're not massive quakes, but still, it's just one of those signs of what fracking is doing, and especially going into what we're going into. Yeah, with this grand solar minimum, and now we have the alignment of the planets putting extra stresses as well. So, you know, the whole fracking thing, is it penny wise, pound foolish? What are your thoughts? And this is an update on the Grand Teton National Park crack. Rangers are monitoring the fissure in a rock buttress above the Hidden Falls viewing area near Jenny Lake. It's unknown how long the closure will be in effect, but it is still closed, and it's less than 100 kilometers from Yellowstone, and it is an area which Yellowstone, the super plume, does extend underneath that area as well. So it's something that they're still watching. It's still closed. We don't know when they're going to open it up. And we had a 5.2 today over in Hawaii as far as the eruptions go. And so we stay on that same track, 5.3, 5.2, maybe a 5.4. Pretty typical. Interesting quakes of note, we have a 5.6 in Argentina. It's pretty deep, 587 kilometers deep. So going by what Dutch would say, is this will probably end up making something of full magnitude or a little bit more as far as the line of flow goes. So, you know, this could equate to like a 6.6 to a 6.8, somewhere down along this range, as this is the way the energy would usually be transferred. And this is actually the area where the volcano Michael has been stirring as well. And as we look over in this area, we do see a 5.1 over in the South Sandwich Islands. So, you know, there's a little bit of an uptick in activity going on right now. We see a very curious quake over here, and this is a 5.0 in Poland. And you know, this is not an area where you tend to see a lot of quakes, but we have seen a couple in Germany lately. And so, you know, there was some in Greece the other day. Perhaps that energy transferred up this way, and then typically this is too shallow to really transfer any energy, but typically it would head up towards Iceland and up towards this way as far as the natural flow of things. And as usual, we have a good little swarm going on over there in the Caribbean plate. Quite a bit of activity going on through California and Washington, as usual, as typical to be expected. Quiet right now around Japan, but we'll see if anything else develops there. And so we have a deadly heat wave that's going to grip Japan. It still is gripping Japan, and it's going to go into next week as well. And so Tropical Storm Ampil is passing to the south of Japan, so they're escaping this one. But as we're going to see, there's other stuff coming. And this deadly heat wave is going to keep going on, and it's already taken many lives. And so we've seen incredible heat waves going on. So we did have all sorts of record cold and record snow going through the winter and actually extending way into the spring. And now, boom, the switch has turned the other way, and we're having record heat. And the extremes are the thing. So really incredible temperatures for the area. So on Wednesday, temperatures soared to the highest levels in 5 years across Japan as the temperature peaked at 40.7 degrees Celsius, which is 105 Fahrenheit. It's pretty toasty for sure. And you know, they have a lot of moisture there, so it's going to really feel very miserable. And again, speaking of Tropical Storm Ampil, it's taking aim at the Ryukyu Islands and heading over towards China. And it's going to bring some more water over here to some areas that, again, are already flooded. And, you know, they're expecting another 4 to 8 inches of rain. Not a good situation. And when we take a look at Ventusky and we look a week out, not a good situation. If this holds true, what the model is showing, basically around the 29th, you're going to be looking at 2 hurricanes that are fairly strong. About 115 mile an hour, 116, 118. That's a pretty significant hurricane. And then over here we have another one with wind speeds in the high 90s, almost 100 miles an hour here as well. And are they going to hit Japan and China? And if so, boy, is that just a string of bad luck the way it's going over there with these storms? It's that type of conveyor belt activity, you know, when a weather pattern gets set in like this, and it's going to be really tough for these places to dry out. And these 2 storms can end up being some of the worst that they've seen. And we'll really have to pray for them again and hope for the best, and maybe try to visualize these things petering out or being carried off to an area where there are no people. And we have violent thunderstorms, hail, and 80-kilometer-an-hour winds that are hitting central and southern France. And, you know, as we're saying, this is a global thing with these storms. Tremendous lightning we have seen. Landslides are possible. And we'll take a peek over here. And here we're over in northwest Italy with more flooding. Not as severe as what we've seen, you know, when we could look and see the streets flooded, but at least it's not up to your waist. Nowadays we would say, well, that's not too bad. It's not up to our waist. It's not 4 feet deep, 5 feet deep down Main Street, so it's not too bad. It could be worse. And we have the Swedish forest fires raging. They are still going. And as we were saying, you know, for being this far north and this close, and in some spots actually in the Arctic Circle, and having the type of temperatures that they're having, highly, highly unusual. And you know, there's just all new weather patterns that have been enveloping us. And of course, just the overall strength of everything has gotten so much more intense. And the UK, they're under a weather warning as well. Britain's bracing for a new extreme heat wave that's going to come next week as the temperatures are going to soar. The Met Office has forecasted a shock battleground in Britain next week, which will see a new heat wave weather front push out the recent cooler air and trigger the hottest spell of the year so far. So get ready and head to the beach if you're in the UK. And then Victoria, Australia is cleaning up after a trail of destruction was left by wild winds and intense storms as well. So as we're seeing, this is global. This is everywhere. And the winds, the electrical output by the intense thunderstorms, the lightning activity we've seen has been incredible, and then just simply the amount of rainfall in such short periods of time. And also those temperature swings, just incredible, setting records everywhere you look. And so Jupiter now has a whopping 79 moons. Did you guys realize that? 79 moons. That's a lot. I mean, gosh, I think in school we were taught they had like that Jupiter had maybe 12 or something like that. Of course, that was back in the Dark Ages when we were still hunting dinosaurs for food. So scientists have discovered 12 previously unknown moons orbiting Jupiter, and one of them is a real oddball. While hunting for the proposed Planet 9, a massive planet that some believe could lie beyond Pluto, a team of scientists led by Scott Shepard from the Carnegie Institute for Science found 12 more moons orbiting Jupiter. With this discovery, Jupiter now has a staggering 79 known orbiting moons, more than any other planet in the solar system. Of the 12 newly discovered ones, 11 are normal, according to a statement from the Carnegie Institute for Science. The 12th, however, is described as a real oddball because of its unique orbit and because it also is probably Jupiter's smallest known moon at less than 1 kilometer or 6/10 of a mile in diameter. So it is really a very, very small body. And very interesting, and it's just amazing. And you could see the planet Jupiter here, and then you have the Galilean moons, right, discovered by Galileo, and you have the prograde group, and then the retrograde group, and then the oddball that goes against the flow, and at some point will end up crashing into one of the others. So it's pretty interesting how, you know, you have them going in different directions as well. And so I always think back to the movie 2010. And in 2010, Jupiter, you know, 2010 was the follow-up to the movie 2001. And in the movie 2010, Jupiter becomes another sun. And, you know, in my mind, and I don't know, it just feels like in my instincts that that's the destiny of these gas giants, is to become their own suns at some point. And in the book, I believe it was Saturn originally that was supposed to become the second sun. And many of you guys have had dreams about a second sun in the sky. So is it something else coming in, or is it really Jupiter or perhaps Saturn that ends up becoming a second sun? Is there something that's going to trigger that, some sort of event? You know, is it something along the lines of Planet X or Nibiru or a comet or something along those lines, or just maybe just perhaps all the extra energy that's coming into us now? Because just like Earth is getting bombarded with all this extra energy, so are all the other planets in the solar system. And apparently it's not even just our solar system, but it might be even more extensive than that. So it's really pretty fascinating stuff, really fascinating. And guys, do share. I mean, if any of you guys haven't shared yet and you've had these dreams of a second sun, please let me know. You know, put it out there and share it with the Evolutionary Energy Arts family. And just share with us what you have been dreaming lately, or, you know, have you been able to remember your dreams lately? And how have you been sleeping? Because so many people are telling me they can't sleep. They're waking up in the middle of the night, and their sleep patterns are so disturbed. And, you know, there's just so much going on right now. It's obviously not typical times. So please do share with what you guys are experiencing out there. So my friends, as always, please do thumbs up, support the channel, subscribe, and join the family, and click the bell so you get all the updates. We are, for the most part, a very loving, easygoing bunch, and we truly appreciate each and every one here, and we love everybody, regardless of whether they have a different opinion from us or not. You know, because, hey, it's a free world, a free universe, and we are allowed to have different opinions, and that's a beautiful thing. Tolerance and acceptance of each other is a beautiful thing, and that shows spiritual growth and maturity. And we are here to learn, to share, and to grow together, and to support each other and become a more unified whole. As we go through all these changes, we'll pick each other up and share what we're doing and share ways of helping each other. So my friends, may you always be blessed with abundant peace, love, health, well-being, and may you always be protected, you and yours. God bless, my friends. Namaste.